Good evening, everyone. Alrighty. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Act, the Asbury Park Board of Education has provided adequate notice of this meeting by sending a notice of the time, date, location, and the exact known the agenda of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press, the New Coaster, on January 14, 2022, via email. Copies of this notice has been placed at the Administrative Building, Bulletin Board, District Schools, Asbury Park Municipal Building, Asbury Park Police Department, and filed with the City Clerk on January 14, 2022. Our mission statement. So Asbury Park District will provide all students with a comprehensive and progressive education where everyone possesses the skills and character to succeed in a diverse, evolving global society. Roll call, please, Mr. Hastings.
Ms. Halls? Ms. Breach? Here. Mr. Grillo? Here. Mr. LaRocca? Here. Mr. Remy? Ms. Ricks? Here. Mr. Saunders? Ms. Lazinski? Here. Ms. Cook?
Here. Oh, sorry. Flag salute, please. We're going to start with our committee reports. Dominic, please.
Thank you. Finance Committee met. The first thing we talked about was beginning to work on the 2023 budget. You may have seen where the governor has moved his annual budget address to March 8th rather than, I believe it would have been this week. We haven't received guidance on our expected funding levels, but this we will 48 hours after the governor's speech, so this just again will reduce the amount of time we have to work on the budget. In discussing the budget, as just to recap, we have some new board members and those in the audience. The state uses a formula to determine what a school district's budget should be, and they use a formula to determine what the municipality's portion of that budget should be. And we are currently dealing with the consequences of a bill that was passed a few years ago, S2, which under the formula is reducing our budget. Our budget will be reduced approximately $6.8 million for the academic year 2023. So in effect, as we're doing that, we're addressing it through budget cuts, and we're dealing with the fact that the state funding formula currently assumes Asbury Park would be paying $23 million towards our budget. We are currently paying $13 million. So the committee, as we have been doing, as we've been doing cuts over the past few years, also looking at increased revenue from the city over the past few years, we're recommending a $2 million increase to go from $13 million to $15 million toward the school budget for 2023. We also discussed the action by the state legislature. They're looking at developing a school funding formula evaluation task force. We as a committee were unanimous that we'd like to see transparency. The formulas used are not completely open to the public, and that seems like a fundamental step for every school district to at least understand or be able to respond to how the formula is deriving both the school district's budget and what the city should be paying toward that budget. Second item was the legislative audit follow-up. Administration has responded. We expect that at least half of the remaining items will be found to be completely compliant, and there might be some minor steps that we take with a few others. With regard to our annual audit, the state's extending the deadline till March 15th, and the auditors, the accountants that we've hired, expect to provide the final audit document in about the next 10 days. Item number 4, you'll see on the agenda, or hopefully you have seen on the agenda, there are 3 different bid proposals. This is the significant amount of ESSER funding of the federal funding that we've received, primarily because of the pandemic, and much of it going toward facility issues, and that will ensure the health of students and staff, HVAC projects, things of that nature. 5th item, the administration has been contacted by the owners of the 910 4th Avenue building regarding the possible sale of that property. We do have a right of first refusal for any potential purchase, but the plan is that administration can find options within the school district to house those that are currently working at the central office as we move forward, and we'll keep you up to date on those developments. And then finally, just some great news, and I feel like I'm going to get the name wrong, but on behalf of George and Anna Zuknowitz, I can do the Italian. The district received notification of a donation of $25,000 towards scholarships for our students. We should have a resolution thanking them. I think if some aren't able to, we're following up with the attorney to see who might be a contact. If some can't make it, I'd be happy to go along and personally thank any family members that are involved, and would just make the suggestion it'd be great if we could let our community know we've had that kind of support, and thank these graduates of Asbury Park High School who have since passed away, but leave a legacy here for us. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. Ms. Ricks?
Thank you. I'll get used to that sooner or later. The C&I committee did meet on 2/14, and we had a very brief meeting. Number 1 is Thurgood Marshall have the opportunity to collaborate with Duke University Consortium and the University of Arizona's Center for Middle Eastern Studies. Our kids will be able to have a virtual meeting with the kids and discuss animal extinction in Egypt and Gaza at no cost to the district, which I think is very important. We also discussed the Dream Academy through Brookdale Community College. The hours have changed on Thursdays for an additional hour, and we are recommending that we pay the chaperone of that program for an additional hour every Thursday through March 5th. And we also discussed the trips as listed. We also recommend that those trips be improved. Mr. Ruiz, did I miss anything?
We do have one agenda item, so I'll have Ms. Dr. Howard just talk about it a little bit.
Good evening, everyone. The item that I'm asking to be voted on is called the SLE program. It's a structured learning experience. A lot of us may have known it as the old CIE program, where students, almost like a work-study program. What has to happen is you have to have teachers who are certified in several courses, including wage, labor laws, and things like that, in order for them to be able to go out to the wherever the student is going to be working, and allow them to, have the, give them a plan. They have to provide a plan as to what they're going to be learning. And the reason why I did this is because, unfortunately, after COVID, a lot of our students worked during COVID, so a lot of them didn't come back. And what their issue is that they have to work. So some of our students, they will have the required courses without having to take the electives. They can just take an SLE program, and they can work and make money. And then some of them, even if they don't want to work and make money, they can actually go on site and get other learning experiences and jobs that they perhaps may be interested in. So I'm asking that the cost is in here, number 13. It's a minimal cost for each teacher that has to take the course, and we're asking that we have at least 5 staff members. They don't necessarily have to be CTE teachers. They can be English teachers. They can be guidance counselors. They can be any staff member that has a certificate. And we're asking that we get this on this board meeting, because there's 4 courses that have to be taken. And I would like to get it done before June so we can start the program in September. Any questions?
And just for clarification, it was not that students did not come back. They opted, when we were virtual, to remain virtual, so that it did not conflict with their work schedules. So that way they could take classes, complete classes, as well as work. So it wasn't that students did not return. They opted to stay fully virtual.
Thank you, Dr. Ackerman.
I have a question. Do they get credit toward graduation with the program if you go over
Yes,
that?
they do. So I'll be working with Mr. Ruiz so that we can have the correct curriculum so that they will get credits.
Thank you.
And the courses will be in the course description, and there'll be codes for them. It's very similar to work study, which was done in the early 80s and 90s, where students worked in a co-op program half day, went to school in a half day, completed their graduation requirements, and then the additional graduation requirements were fulfilled through the work study or the co-op program that they found towards the students in that time.
Thank you, everyone. Mr. Grillo?
Thank you, Madam President. So Buildings and Grounds met February 17th at 6, and a couple of items to report out. One is we've agreed to let the A7FL use the football field for the spring football events that they're going to have. They've agreed to pay the fees for use, and they'll also pay to provide police officers to attend the games to kind of make sure that everything stays okay. And the fee is approximately $15,000. I thought I remember hearing it be 18, but I guess Jeff could give us the exact price on that. And then with the security grant that we have, the Securing Our Children's Future School Security Grant, we've ordered 60 cameras associated with that grant. And however, as with a lot of things, they're currently on back order, supply chain issues and whatnot. But we expect receipt of the cameras and installation to begin in late March. And this will be an upgrade to all the buildings to the same online access format, which is Genetec Security. As far as the 3 ESSER bid proposals, the 3 resolutions are going to be on the agenda, and it allows the architect to update the long-range facility plan. And this ties into the HVAC projects to be completed under the ESSER grants. Fourth item is stadium repairs. So the administration met with the new architect to review the proposed Stage 1 repairs that were developed under the former architect, and we plan to start Stage 1 repairs this spring. And 2 contractors have been contacted, and they've provided us with quotes. And then the other thing that we spoke about was, I think it was Ms. Breach that brought it up, was the placing of a plaque at Barack Obama Field to acknowledge the donation of the trees that we received, and we wanted to discuss that with the full board to see what that would look like and how we could do that in a cost-effective way. So, yeah. And that's it.
I just wanted to say that there won't be any cost to the district as far as the plaque. It's going to be coming out of the foundation, toy drive.
Ms. Halls?
Good evening, everyone. The policy meeting was held on February 17th as well. We have a list of new and revised policies that come from Strauss Esme. I'm going to read out the policy and just a synopsis of each of the policies. Policy 2415.05, student surveys, analysis, evaluations, examinations, testing, or treatment, which was a revision. It addresses the issue of a school district administering a survey, analysis, evaluation, examination, testing, or treatment funded in whole or in part by a program of the United States Department of Education. It was rewritten to provide additional detail regarding the requirements outlined in the federal code and regulations codes. School districts must receive prior written consent from the parents. Next, PNR 2431.4, prevention and treatment of sports-related concussions and head injuries. This is a revision which expanded the scope of the law to include intramural sports, along with interscholastic sports and cheerleading programs. Strauss Esme addressed these revisions by modifying the definition of athletic competition used in the policy guide. Next, we have policy 2451, which states adult high schools, a revision, additional code section titled individuals with disabilities at NJAC 6A22.4 was added, and one section was removed titled monitoring, which was previously codified. To keep it short, revisions to terminology, adults to students, individual, and limited English proficient adults to English language learners. Revision 2460.30, additional compensatory special education and related services. This new statute applies to students with disabilities who exceed or will exceed the current age of eligibility. This new statute does not guarantee all students exceeding the age of eligibility will receive additional or compensatory services. Rather, the statute makes it clear that it is the role of the student's IEP team to determine if the student requires such services. Policy 2622, student assessment. We have both a revised and a new. The superintendent is now required to report only the final results of the annual assessments to the Board of Education and to the members of the public. The revised policy guide shall replace a school district existing policy 2622. Policy and regulation guides 2622 are mandated and must be adopted by the board. Policy 3233, political activities. This is a revision. Revise the term Board of Chosen Freeholders to Board of County Commissioners, and freeholder and chosen freeholder shall be county commissioner. Policy 5460, high school graduation, which is a revision. The revision provides greater clarity regarding the graduation assessment requirements for the classes of 2023, 2024, and 2025, and updates to the high school diploma criteria for out-of-school individuals. A new optional section has been added to the policy guide 5460 for school districts who choose to participate in the optional section. New Jersey Department of Education, state seal of biliteracy program. Policy 5541, anti-hazing. It is a new policy. The new law requires public and non-public high school and middle schools to adopt a anti-hazing policy. The revised criminal law provides an updated definition of hazing, and Strauss-Esme recommends hazing claims to be investigated using the same procedures used for student code of conduct violations. Policy 7540, joint use of facilities. It is a revision. The term Board of Chosen Freeholders to Board of County Commissioners, and freeholders and chosen freeholders shall be county commissioners. Wow, I feel like I just read that. Both policy and revision, bias crimes and bias-related acts. Guides have been updated to align with NJAC and the Uniform State Memorandum of Agreements between education and law enforcement officials, addendum titled Responding to Hate Acts and Bias-Related Acts, Gender Identity or Expression, and national origin, or has been added to the protected class of individuals. School property has been revised to school grounds. And then we have policy 9560, administration of school policy. School survey, which is a revision. The new law and revisions to policy guide 5960 include a process for notification of parents and an outline of the topics that may be asked, addressed anonymous and voluntarily. Also with policy 9560, Strauss-Esme believes it will be less confusing if policy 2415.05 addresses the federal rule and the policy guide 9560 addresses the state rule, which is mandated. Also, number 2, policy, I think this is the same thing, 540 athletic awards. The committee discussed the need for a regulation to go with the athletic awards policy to establish a standard across all sports. The committee will follow up with Strauss-Esme to see if they already have a regulation, as well as checking with other districts. 2.2, the committee also discussed parental involvement and how best to increase community participation in district events. The committee will discuss with the full board. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, before I open up the public meeting, the public participation, I have a little statement for you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot about Connie. I'm sorry, Connie.
The athletic committee met on the 16th of February. We spoke about developing some type of regulation policy, working with the administration for the athlete of the year, both male and female. That won't be just including sports, but hopefully also include their scholastic ability and their community involvement. The MLK is going to have the middle school, upper middle school. We're going to be doing track relays at the high school. We're not able to do it for the high school because we don't have certain events available at the high school, but the middle school is going to start, I think this spring, we're going to have relays at the high school. And let's see, the boys basketball team made the playoffs this year. The first game is going to be March 1st at 8 a.m. at Brick Memorial. I think they're playing Perth Amboy, but yes, they made the playoffs, so mark that date down. The fall sports schedule, they were attached to our minutes, so if anybody has any questions about that. And our homecoming this year will be October 7th. It's our last home game, so it's a little bit later than this past year, but at least we have some more time to get ready, and hopefully we'll be able to have our parade this year, so we can mark that date down. And also, starting the fall, we are going to have a boys volleyball club, much like we started with the girls a couple years ago, and now they made varsity. We're trying again with the boys, and that'll start this fall as a club, and then hopefully go toward the varsity level next year, 2 years.
Thank you. Okay, so the club of participation, I'm going to have a statement read by our lawyer.
Do you have it? I don't have it. Where is this? Okay. Good evening, everyone. In accordance with Board Policy 0167, the Asbury Park Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and other matters of importance, and provides members of the public with the opportunity to express themselves on school matters of community interest. The public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session, and all public comments shall be directed to the board president or the presiding officer of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to make public comments must be recognized by the presiding officer and provide his or her name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation if applicable. All public comments shall be directed to the presiding officer and are limited to 3 minutes in duration. Members of the public who do not follow the foregoing rules and/or interfere with the orderly operation of the board meeting may be removed from the meeting.
Thank you. It is now open.
Good evening. My name is Mrs. LaShawn Anderson Bray. I am the mother of Johnasia Bray as well as her advocate. I'm going to give you a little background on where Johnasia comes from. I graduated from Brookdale. Wasn't supposed to. It says, for rising above all obstacles and challenges and achieving your college degree. When I started Brookdale, I was homeless. When I finished Brookdale, I had just had Johnasia. I was pregnant going to Brookdale, and when I had Johnasia, my friends, when they finished their classes, they would watch my daughter while I went to my classes. I have a certificate for Association of Nursing, a certification of appreciation again from Brookdale, board member of EOF, certificate from Thurgood when I worked there, also appreciation. On top of, I'm a veteran. I wasn't supposed to make it. My mother had me at the age of 15. I'm from Long Branch, where the teachers were nurturing and they cared. Now let me tell you about Johnasia. Johnasia, yeah, she's autistic. And we see the world differently. She doesn't have an intellectual disadvantage or anything holding her back. It has to do with stimulation and nurturing. I push my daughter to be out there. At the age of 3, my daughter's IQ level is 116. You can't learn that. That's in her DNA. My daughter, in the 101 Dalmatians, as Anita, I pushed her. Girl Scouts, Safety Patrol, Certificate of Achievement, Honor Code, Certificate of Achievement, Perfect Attendance, Honor Roll, more Honor Roll, 4th grade honored by your fraternity. But she's autistic. And you want to give her an IEP. Because what does autism mean to you? Is it an intellectual thing? Or is it because you're closed-minded and you can't see differently? Because we live in a different world. We see colors. We don't wake up in February and celebrate Black History Month. Unfortunately, we wake up every day Black. I teach my daughter every day. You teach her Black History Month of everything about being injustice, and that's not equal. Yesterday is history.
Thank you, Ms. Gray.
Thank you.
Anyone else? At this time, I will close public participation. Review. We're going to review the agendas.
I can start with mine. That's fine. Business agenda starts on page C1. I'd like to bring to the board's attention, as was noted in our committee minutes from the Finance Committee and Mr. LaRocca, on C2 you'll see the scholarship award, the acceptance of the scholarship from the did we say Zuknowitz Memorial Scholarship. There was also the adoption of the security grant. This is a resolution we previously adopted, but the state has asked us to readopt the resolution along with some other districts based on a timing window. I would also note the long-range facility updates, which we referenced earlier on page C4. Those are updates to our long-range plan that allow us to move forward with various HVAC projects that may not have been originally included in the long-range facility plan that was submitted, I believe, last year. I'd be happy to take any questions from board members on any of those topics. Thank you.
Good evening. Items for tonight's discussion are, we'll start the Saturday academies at our schools. We have the staff appointed for recommendation for appointing staff school assignments and transfers, as well as the recommendation for the strength and conditioning position, as well as retirement and dealing with other items related to policy, which are up here, updated provisions, and as well as the C&I items, which were discussed by the board members under the C&I committee. At this point, I'll entertain any questions related to the agenda items, which are on B1 through B5. Yes, sir.
Are we fully staffed now for the Saturday preparatory academies, or are we looking for Any additional?
No,
Staff?
we have the staff members now. That's what kind of led to the delay. Initially, the planning was done properly, the advertising, it was just really waiting to fill those positions with the staff that were willing to work those number of Saturdays.
Because that'll be a great addition, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? One of the other items that I did want to mention that was in the weekly superintendent's update to the board members was a survey that we completed, student survey that we completed over the last week and a half with 824 student responses, which really gave us an opportunity to galvanize the direction of our district. As you know, we're going to be student-centered. As you can probably see, some of the participating families that are here this evening of our student, one of the pieces of that is our Student Advisory Committee, which we're going to recognize this evening during the 7 o'clock hour. We're going to do the work that has been identified in that student survey with 825 students responding and participating in that. And the results, I hope you had an opportunity to review it, are actually outstanding. They give us a real window as to the level of student advocacy and efficacy that we want to build here in the district. And I'll be looking forward to working with the Student Advisory Committee over the next several months as we implement and begin to plan out our school uniform initiative, as well as looking at a number of areas that have been identified as growth opportunities, as well as successful opportunities that we have here in the district. So if you have not had an opportunity to do that, I would please recommend that you review that survey. So this evening, we have a couple of presentations. We have our Student of the Month presentation. We also have our, again, Student Advisory Committee recognition, as well as our monthly school presentation for Black History Month being done by the Bradley Elementary School. So I'm just trying to look into the audience and see if all of our students of the month are here, but I don't see all of the administrators. I think we have one that's not here. Thurgood Marshall, I see Dr. Jackson. Bradley, I know Ms. Jackson Byers is here. Dr. Howard Morris is here, and I will probably stand in for Mr. Medina. So all of our students of the month present, Anthony Cruz Cortez. Is Anthony here? Okay, no, just trying to take it, see. Eric Lopez, is Eric Lopez present? Okay. Murray, first name Zagala Murphy from MLK. And I know Diamond Jules Harris is here. Hey, Diamond. I want to, if we can, hold off till all of our students are here to do that during the 7 o'clock hour, because that was the time in which we told them. Our students from the Student Advisory Committee here, if you can raise your hand. See a few of them. And again, we had advised 7 p.m. for that. So, I want to give them adequate time and stick to that time frame.
Can we make a motion to close until 7?
Yep, I'm the second.
All right, move it.
Motion to adjourn?
That's what,
Oh,
and I seconded it.
all right.
7 o'clock meeting will be starting.
All in favor? Okay. Everyone, we are adjourning the 6 o'clock meeting. We will come back at 7. Please hold tight.